Greetings. It's your girl Tenacity, and welcome to my world. They're calling for a stay at home. You know, staying at home at a time, staying at home was knowing who you were, knowing your roots, knowing your world, so to speak. A lot of creative things come from staying home. People tend to interact with one another. People tend to share things they wouldn't have shared. Lovers become lovers and friends once again. Staying at home sometimes creates more of a blessing than anything else. I was inspired this morning by my husband, of course, and yesterday by a close friend. And she had been praying all last year. We had been agreeing about a union for her and a marriage. And so yesterday, because business is to zero, but we all mask up, wrap up, glove up, and I still do a few services. But now I have to just totally cut it off. But in this conversation, the beauty came out of me speaking to you today. It made her tremble because now she has connected to someone and she didn't understand. She said, now I've connected and look, we can't even talk. We can talk, but we can't see each other. We can't hold hands, nothing right now. And so I told her yesterday that, you know, the way I met my husband online 6 years ago. And I flew to Africa and yada, yada, yada. You know the story if you know me, or you know the story if you follow me. But I told her that's the beauty of getting to know someone when they can't physically touch you. We learn to be friends. We learn to be confidants to one another. We saw our strengths, we saw our weaknesses through that period of isolation of getting to know each other without a physical touch. So I told her, I said, do you do FaceTime? And she said, yeah. She said, that's okay. I say, make the best of it now. While we are sitting still, while we are told to stay at home, find out who he truly is. Learn him, learn his likes and dislikes. Because, you know, our body speaks before our mouths. You know, we have things that we call body language, gestures. And they tell you a little about the honesty or dishonesty about a person. So I told her, take this time and learn the beauty of who he is. Introduce yourself in its truest form. And that's what staying at home does. Staying at home reminds us that we're human. Reminds us that we are living in a world that it can disappear before our very eyes. That man can create something that we don't know of anyway. For unforeseen issues, all kind of things can take place. But long as we're in the four walls of what we call home, wherever that is for you, you make the best of it. Whatever lines of communication that you have to communicate with others, you make the best of it. You grow from being at home. You learn so much about yourself from being at home. Me, in the quiet place that I spoke about, sitting still 3 years and not knowing why, but look at the outcome. Look at what God has been preparing all this time, learning how to sit still. So I can tell you about the beauty of sitting still, about the beauty of staying home, because I experienced it on a whole nother level. Now, this level is a little different because we don't know what's going on, but that's not for us to sit and ponder or worry about. As long as you serve a true and living God from your heart, as long as you truly serve him, I feel that the angels have already covered you under their wings, and you just need to trust God. You need to be still and know who he is. You need to know that he's manifesting things in this very moment when we cannot see them for our lives. And I pray right now that God covers your family. He covers your loved ones. See, this intimate time that we are supposed to sit still is the intimate time that God is calling us out. See, it's not about dressing up to go in fellowship. It's about your church. Make your body the living sacrifice so that God reigns in you. So that when you get to your fellowship hall, when you get before your shepherd, your pastor, your teacher, your leaders, that you can appreciate the work that it takes to speak to you, the believer, because God would have worked on you and your church while you stayed at home. So love on your children, love on your husband, love on your wives. I love on my husband right through this phone because that's all we have right now. I make him know exactly how I feel. Our conversations are so intense sometimes. It's amazing to me how much communication is so strong that it can literally change your thought process. So I watch what I pour into him, and he watches what he pours into me. We're not perfect people, but we're two people I really believe that God trusts in this season, and that our FaceTime will be over and we will be face to face once more. So just with my story alone, and it's hundreds of them out here, I beg you to stay home and to just hear what the Spirit is saying to the church. God is speaking in this season. Elohim is speaking in this season. Yahweh is speaking in this season. Allah is speaking in this season. Jesus is speaking in this season. He says, as the Holy Spirit took over the disciples, they began to call him by many names in spirit. But he is one true living God, and he reigns in this season. So please, stay home and love yourself, if nothing else. Greetings. It's your girl, Tenacity. Just loving home. Mind changing. Subscribe. Peace be unto you.